today?
Good. We had a very nice discussion in the morning on
Okay.
colonization, decolonization, and mediation. Must watch
Okay.
that. Must watch that. There was Victor. He's based in Kenya, but he's from South Sudan and Somalia. There was Ginny. She's in the US, and I mean, that's a conversation we have to have, of course, lots of times. But at
All right.
least we started it. I mean, you must watch it because it affects all of us. It
Oh,
affects
I'll
all of
I'll
us.
definitely watch that after this. I'll go through it and see. I'll go to your YouTube page and check for it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good. So now what I'm going to do is let me just put up on what is the conference about, because Tabitha is here, and of course Tabitha in her session we have Martha. Tabitha, hi Tabitha.
Hi, Tabitha. Welcome.
Oh, Tabitha is thinking whether she should unmute herself or not. Tabitha. Yes, how are you?
I'm good.
Okay, what I'm going to be doing exactly what Martha told me. Please tell us a little about what you are doing here. So let me just talk about the conference for a minute. So I do it now. After Martha told me, I do it at every session now. So at least
Very good.
kind of be prepared as to what we are going to be doing. So World Mediators Conference, theme being Mediation Vision 2026, evolution of mediators and mediation. The idea being to look into the future. Let's see where we want mediation to go. Let's see how we want mediators to evolve. Started on 18th May, going up to 30th June. 18th May is Ken Cloke's birthday. Started on that day. I am celebrating that as World Mediators Day. So inaugural address was by Ken Cloke. Very nice of him to spend his birthday with us. And you, of course, go to my YouTube channel. Just search Mediator Vikram. You'll find the YouTube channel. You can also check on my website, mediatorvikram.com. Watch the sessions. They're all on YouTube. And you'll find my post where you will find the schedule. If you can't find it, just get in touch with me. The whole schedule is out there. So right now we're discussing mediation, free versus pro bono. So that's what it's about. So what is going to happen is Loretta will introduce herself and we'll move from there. So Loretta, please.
Hello, Tabitha. Hello, Mr. Vikram. Hi, everyone. My name is Loretta Nasi Kiagba. I am an attorney mediator, the founder of FENA Mediation and Dispute Resolution Services. I'm also a project manager, but I'm more of a mediator, so to say. So what I do is I help people settle disputes out of court, and also I help them maintain a healthy relationship even after going through, the hustles and tussles of conflict. So basically, that's what I do. And in my spare time, I train people on various topics when I'm not so busy. Thank you very much. Good to see you all.
Yeah, but you are very busy. You haven't told us about the most important thing, which I told you last
Yeah,
time.
yes. I'm a mother to a beautiful baby. Her name is Michaela, aka Kiki. She was just here right now. I had to send her somewhere. So
yeah,
I will be having a wonderful quiet time today. But she's somewhere around. She can come in here any moment to,
okay,
disrupt the environment. But it's all good. It's just part of it.
Yeah, that's a qualification by itself.
Yeah, it is. It
Yes,
is.
we should not leave it behind.
Actually,
Yeah.
well, it's so
Okay,
interesting. It's fine.
yes, okay. So please, Tabitha, of course, you've been on that. Of course, you've been here on various sessions, but the important one was that neurodiversity and mediation. Loved that session. And of course, we have more conversations on that. So please, Tabitha, please tell us about yourself and you take it from there.
Yeah, so my name is Tabitha van den Berg. I'm from the Netherlands. I work as a professional mediator, but I'm also active as a community mediator as a volunteer. So that's pro bono. And I've been doing that for over 10 years in a certain neighborhood of Amsterdam. For anybody, whether you have money or you don't have money, anyone whether you bought your house or you rent your house, or you're just visiting, anybody who has an issue with their neighbors can call upon us, and we'll try to figure it out. So I'm quite interested in this session.
Look, I tell you, the idea is because you said that pro bono. The whole idea of the discussion is what is free and what is pro bono. What is pro bono? So I mean, my understanding, we can obviously, I mean, you don't have to agree, but my understanding is that pro bono is when someone can't afford something. So you give them a service because they can't afford it. And free is they can afford it, but you still give it to them. So that's free for me. So now in that kind of a context, because when I look at of course, you said in community mediation, in the court system, why if I am saying, why are we giving it free? That's my point. Why are we devaluing mediation? It all comes from there. So if Loretta, you want to start?
I was thinking I'll get a hands-on free experience from Tabitha, but I'm just going to try because something just came to my mind. You know that mediation is all about settlement, trying to resolve disputes, keeping people in peace, harmony, and that kind of thing. So it's always very difficult to tell people to pay for what they feel should be free. Because mediation started before we were born. Like our forefathers had this system of resolving disputes. They were practicing mediation, but they didn't really know what they were doing at that time was mediation. So most times when you resolve disputes for people, they just feel like it's part of the way of life that should be given out for free. They don't see like services rendered to them or something they should pay for. That's why you find people say, oh, if it's not court, why is it so serious? If I'm not going to court, I don't know why I should even pay that much, because I'm just going to sit down here and have a discussion or a conversation with someone. So I don't see any reason why I should pay money, because it's something I can do on a normal day, something we can do in the family, settle and also trying to explain to someone that there are professional skills involved in resolving this dispute to help them see why they ought to pay money for the services rendered to them. It's another problem on one hand. And that's why in Nigeria, we have the multi-door courthouse. They have a time where they set aside to resolve disputes for free. They help people in the community or just people with certain disputes, and they call mediators from all over who are interested in rendering their free services. They come there and they settle disputes. You find people go there from Monday to say Friday, morning till evening. They are trooping in. But tell them to pay money, they are giving you excuses. Oh, I cannot afford the fees, I can't pay so much money. But if you mention litigation, wherever that money is, they can find it and, pay for those services. So I think it's a problem between looking at I don't call it the moral aspects of resolving disputes from the house and then the professional aspect. So I'm just in between. I'm not on this side, neither am I on the other side. So I'm just going to listen to Tabitha to understand why it is so, because I've always asked myself why people feel mediation should not be properly compensated, like the services to a mediation, or even like we know mediation advocates, they make more money because they are the lawyers representing their clients in a mediation. So those ones have more respect than even the mediators who are presiding over these matters. So I think I would love to hear her point of view. I understand why it is so. Thank you.
Absolutely. Picked up a lot of important points and definitely we'll take all of them up. But Tabitha, you want to just start the conversation?
I didn't prepare for it, but I can give it a try. So what I hear Loretta saying is that people don't really see mediation as a professional service and don't really have enough respect for the profession as they would have for litigation and for lawyers. So there's a struggle about seeing the professional actually as a professional, because they assume it's something that comes natural and that should just happen for free between people for people. And I think I struggle with the dilemma, because part of me thinks it should be a free service. It's something we should do. It's something maybe before our priests or our rabbis or the elders in our community did. But at the same time, our elders or our priests or our community leaders probably got part of the profit of the grain or of the potatoes that were rendered that year. So they were compensated. It wasn't that they couldn't eat because they were so busy solving other people's conflicts. So somehow we have to find a way to balance it out. And how I've done it for myself, but I must admit, in the Netherlands, the court system doesn't expect mediators to work for free. So that's probably already helping in the attitude that people have about mediation. It's not a free service. And also a lot of employers seem to start to realize that going to court is much more expensive and takes much more time than going to mediation. Mediation is often quicker and has better resolution rates for them. So I think we don't have such a big issue to get paid for this professional service rendered, because people see us as the cheaper alternative, which, I mean, it should be the better alternative because it's a more complete and holistic approach to conflict and to relationships in general. I think it's not just about solving the matter, it's also about making an effort to understand each other and to rebuild a relationship, or at least walk a mile in someone else's shoes. So I don't really want to promote mediation as being cheaper than going to court or paying 2 lawyers. But we are not struggling as much with getting paid for what we do. However, from a more principle point of view, I have always said I want to spend at least 30% of my time pro deo, whatever I do. And that's also something that we have an office now with 4 mediators, and all of us agree to that principle. And in order to be able to do that, I also have 3 kids. I also have to pay for my house. I want food on the table. It doesn't have to be gigantic amounts of food, but still enough food to get through the day. So I have to make sure that the 70% I work is enough to cover the bills, so that I can afford to do the mediation for free or pro deo for those who need it.
Again, look, Tabitha, the whole conversation will obviously go around the fact that you want to give back to the community.
Absolutely.
So you want to give it to people who can't afford it. I can understand. Now, the problem is the free aspect of it, because, of course, let's start from the fact that you spoke about that traditionally they were given potatoes or whatever they were given. Now, over some time, we realized that we did make a currency, money. We made that at some point of time. Barter system maybe was a good thing for everything, but maybe we did change as a society. I think maybe money did come in as a form of exchange of goods, for the exchange of goods. So that was something we also have to, with time, change that aspect. And the other thing is that from, I mean, if you look at it from traditional society perspective, we don't know, but my feeling is that were they as materialistic? So if you have created a materialistic society where Tabitha, I mean, okay, whether their needs or not, that again is debatable. But of course, there is lots that money can buy, and how much of it you want to buy, those choices have increased. Now, to say Tabitha should rise up above all that, and she doesn't need anything, and she goes into a very different level of spirituality and everything. I don't know whether she wants to, that's her wish, but I'm not going to push her to that direction. So in that kind of a society, when you live in that society, to say a mediator has to rise above everything, but a lawyer who's into litigation, that lawyer, that person can and should provide services for a decent and maybe a major fee. You are at that point of time demeaning and devaluing mediators. What Loretta said, that of course the way they are looked at in the court system, I'm talking about Nigeria itself. There's a very senior mediator who was on one of my shows, and he spoke about himself. He's very senior. He says, when I go into court as a mediator, I'm not wearing the gown, I'm not wearing the wig, and I am getting $40 for the entire mediation. It doesn't matter how many sessions it's going to take. So what the parties, their perception of me is, oh, he gets nothing. So they look at me from that perspective. A lawyer walks in with a robe and the wig and all. Oh yes, he's the man, kind of thing. So I mean, why are we doing this to mediators? I just don't understand. Just because the court wants to get rid of their backlog, you finishing off the mediator. You want to promote mediation? Damn good. You said mediation. You should go for mediation. But that one person who's called the mediator, and it's a joke now, we could say it in many times, but I just found out that maybe a mediator is required for mediation. So why are we doing that to them? That's my question. Also, in the multi-door courthouse concept that Loretta spoke about, there is, of course, there can be an option of arbitration, mediation, litigation. Why are all of them not paid the same? Let's just finish it off. Let the lawyer in litigation get $40 in Nigeria, and the arbitrator gets $40, the mediator gets $40. How long? I don't know whether they'll survive, that multi-door courthouse will survive more than 1 minute also. It'll be burned down by lawyers. That's what the way I look at it. So I think we have to question all that. So this is, background. Let's just take it forward from there. So I don't know whether Loretta wants to come in at this point. Yes, Loretta, I've spoken a lot about Nigeria only because you're there.
So the good thing is mediators are now speaking up and trying to educate other lawyers who are ignorant about mediation and how it operates. We're trying. That's why Mr. Fola came up with the Fortify Mediation Academy, where people can actually see what mediation is all about. Because most lawyers don't encourage their clients to, go to mediation. Why? Because they want their appearance fee for every time they go to a court. So it's always difficult to convince clients when their lawyers are hell-bent on going to court. But with the help of technology now, people now see mediation information out there on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. So it's good for them to know these things. They watch these videos and they understand, mediation is not that bad. It's something we can explore. And then they now know that, they can pay for these services to maybe lawyers who want to go through mediation by going there as mediation advocates. That's why there is...
Loretta, the discussion is that we're not going in that direction. The point is, mediation is very good. Everyone will talk about it. Not a problem. Very nice. Mediation, yes. But who's going to be in that mediation? A mediator. When that mediator is not given anything, and that is the perception that people are going to have of mediation, that this is a free service.
That's more of what I'm saying, because if the clients, if there are no parties to a mediation, there can never be a mediation, except parties agree to go to a mediation. So if before you go to any court now, the judges have made a rule that you should at least go to a dispute resolution center to try and resolve your dispute. If you cannot resolve it there, then you come to court. You don't just go to court with certain cases, except for criminal cases right now.
No, I tell you right.
So if the parties insist on not going,
I'm saying that that direction is a different discussion altogether. That's a different discussion. We're not into that at all. Point is, court or whatever, that by itself is a problem. Why the court should have mediation centers, that's another problem.
Yeah.
But okay, everything done. The parties have gone for mediation, but have they gone for it because it's a free service? Would they have paid as much as lawyers are paid if that was the situation? Those are the questions we have to ask. It's very nice to send sometimes.
I understand what you're saying. Yeah, yes. More like, I'm doing this because it's free.
Exactly.
So a certain amount should be attached to it to make it more serious.
Why a certain amount? Why there should be a proper market value, Loretta?
Well, because according to them, it saves time. It's something that can be done within hours or days. So it's not something we should pay. Yeah, that's the mentality. I'm saying this because I've had a discussion with people who are of this opinion, because they don't really know. And you won't blame them, because it is difficult to understand why someone should just, go to a mediation and resolve a dispute when they can actually stress and, stretch it for like 2 years to resolve that dispute for them to earn money from it. So if you look at it critically, it's not just about attaching a certain amount of money. Like for private mediators, they make a lot of money. Private mediators and private mediation advocates, they make a lot of money. But, because this multi-door courthouse is also under a state high court or something, It's something that the government contributes money to. That's why they are not really paid that much. And people who work there most times are highly experienced people who have private practices elsewhere. Mr. Fola is on the panel of neutrals on the CMC. So these people are people with private practices. It's not like a multi-door courthouse is their only source of income. So like Tabitha said, that's like their community work per se. Let me put it that way.
But
It's
I
more
think,
of like community work.
no, but then Tabitha, Loretta, what I'm trying to put across is that very nice. It is a part of the court system, and these people have a private practice and they get whatever they can earn from that. What about those mediators who don't have a private practice and they're passionate about mediation? And if that court system can provide them, I'm saying it should not be in the court system. I mean, you don't take it from that I want it in the court. For a moment, it's going to be difficult to fight the judiciary at this point of time, so I'm not going to get into that. In the court system, a person who's passionate about being a mediator, and that is the practice they want to do, if they do not get anything where the actual work is coming in, if they don't get, how will they practice as a full-time mediator? So what we want is people to have other things that they do. The main purpose is that people should not be going in for litigation. But if we are saying, oh, I'll come in sometimes and maybe work in the court system, but I have other things to do, is that going to really serve the purpose? So finally, the large chunk is going to be free. As I see it, pro bono is only going to be, it should be for people who can't afford it. We don't know whether that also should be there, how it should be worked out. So we can discuss that, but Tabitha can come in and, yeah, Tabitha, please.
Yeah, I think you're pointing out something valuable, because indeed, if mediation is somewhat of an unpaid hobby for professionals that do other stuff to make money throughout most of their days, how much of a sustainable practice is that, and how much of an experience, how much experience people actually gain if they do it only on Friday afternoon for free, when they have just 1 or 2 hours. So we might not be serving the mediator community as a whole, and not the people that we serve either, because we're not gaining enough flight hours to really learn how to fly and to develop our profession. And there's another risk, I think, and maybe that's what you were trying to point out also, Vikram, is that mediation then becomes a bit of a luxury. Practicing mediation becomes a luxury for those who can afford, because they have a well-paid job on the side. And I think we have, if I talk from the Dutch perspective, there's a lot of people that have a natural mediation mindset that may come from a migrant community or may come from a less affluent family. And it would be a shame if we don't have those people practicing mediation, simply because mediation is an unpaid hobby for those who work as lawyers for hefty fees 5 days a week. So we have to take ourselves serious and present ourselves as serious, and being serious means there's a value to what we do, and we're not afraid to ask for that value for those who can pay.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Finally, at the end of the day, if we are providing value, first of all, we have to question that. Are we maybe not providing value within the mediation world? We keep saying, very nice, we're doing something very good, we're helping people resolve. Maybe people don't want to resolve. Maybe they just want to litigate. So maybe we're not required. Why are we pushing ourselves there and saying, oh, come, take it for free, take it for free. We are sitting here. No, you don't want it. Don't take it. Go litigate. So I think maybe we are as mediators not being able to put it across properly there, or maybe we're not getting together to say, look, we are providing a value, and we are providing a value because you are telling people to go for it. If we are not providing a value, don't do it. So I am saying, I'll tell you where I come from. I practice only as a mediator. Now, every time the senior mediators who actually, like I just spoke about, and Loretta speaking about Fola, and I'm talking about Mr. Akisanya, all these are senior mediators. Now, when they provide it for free, I'm not saying pro bono, I'm saying for free. When they provide it for free, what are they doing? They are telling people that do not go for private mediation, go into the court, get these people appointed as mediators, and then you will get it for free. Why would you pay outside? And this exactly is something that a senior mediator who was part of one of the sessions that we had, he said this is exactly what the situation with him is. People actually came to him separately to say, asked his fee. Then they were told, we'll get this person appointed through the court. Why should we go to him separately? And this is exactly what Jeff Ketchum said in my last symposium. Exactly, this is what's happening in the US. People aren't, the lawyers are making the money. They're getting mediators appointed through the court system. That mediator thinks I'm going to be recognized by lawyers, so I'm going to get private work. No private work comes. He said, I was in that system and nothing was coming to me on private. I just moved out of the court system. So the court system is not serving the mediators. It is only serving the judiciary. It's their self-interest that they're doing it for. Why are we falling for that trap? Why are first of all, whether it's a profession or not, we'll discuss that in a separate session. But first of all, if we have to practice as full-time mediator, because look, I know so many people who are doing it in the court because they're passionate about it. They love it. That's what they want to do, but they can't do it on a full-time basis because it doesn't pay. So look at a person who has to be a litigating. I'm talking about lawyers. Of course, there are other people also who are mediators. I'm talking about lawyers who have to go every day into court as litigation lawyers because they don't get money out of mediation. They're frustrated on a daily basis. Anyone who has a mediator mindset, for that person, going into any adversarial method is frustrating. You don't want to do it, but you do it. You hear you're in a litigation and you are just wanting to reach out to the other side. Why are you not sitting down and settling it? But you can't do it because it's litigation. So I'm just trying to say that there are lots of things which are coming out of that, which we really need to, I think. Yeah, Tabitha, please.
Yeah, I think, no, I was sneezing. That's why I muted myself and unmuted. But I think you're right. We have to make sure that we're not that passionate that we're undermining the sustainability of our profession and of our services. And I think something very interesting, and I don't exactly know where the research was done, but somewhere they made an experiment. So some top chefs cooked dinner, and then there were two groups, and one group was given the dinner as a free food, unlimited resources, and not free food, but take as much as you want. And they were asked to pay $10, I think. But you had to put the food on the plate yourself, but you could take as many servings as you want. It was the same food, right? And the other group came and they were offered a private dinner on nice plates, and it was $40 per plate. And somehow the people that got all this really good food for a very low price scored it much lower than the people that actually paid for it, because somehow contributing value increases your satisfaction or your expectations of the food. I mean, they got the same food, so I thought that was a very interesting one.
Yeah.
And it's also something I share with starting mediators. If you start mediating for free, and not within the community service center, because that's a different thing. But if you start mediating for free from your professional practice, or you do it for, I don't know, $10 an hour, please go work in a grocery store. You will get paid better. You'll get better payment.
Yeah, exactly.
And don't think, like you just pointed out, Vikram, don't think that people who've been paying $10 are going to be your ambassadors for a full fee.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they don't see you as a serious.
I'm going to the pitfalls of the whole thing. Someone who's been practicing for 20 years in a court in India, where the first mediation center was set up. A statement that she said, and I was like, I mean, just opens your eyes to how people are perceiving mediation. She said, if you give peanuts, you'll get monkeys. That is what she said about the mediation center and the mediators in that. I mean, I was shocked. And this is someone who's seen it. I mean, not someone who's just come into the court. She's seen it for 20 years. So if that is the kind of what people would take back from mediation, and that is what the user is going to take back, and what are they doing inside that room? I've got feedback from people who've been in the court system, and they say, they just come in and they say, okay, what do you want? What do you want? Finish, come on. Okay, do it like this. And they walk out. Some of them actually tell them this is how you have to do it, because obviously they have, look, you are a lawyer who's, like I said, in Nigeria, the robe and the wig, and you walked into a room where these parties who are, for them, that high court is a big thing. I mean, they could be coming from a small town, the village or whatever. It's a big thing, the court itself. And the lawyer is at a different level. And then the lawyer says, okay, this is the way you have to do it. They take it as okay, we have to do it because the judge has appointed this person. They don't understand the whole process. In the mediation world, we understand what is mediation, everything. We don't think of that person to, I mean, there's one particular interview I keep talking about, a mediator in our Supreme Court who said the mediator will decide 4 times in that interview. The mediator will decide, the mediator will decide, the mediator will decide. And I'll say it the 4th time, mediator will decide. He says that in that interview. If that is what you're doing inside the room, how are you serving mediation? What are the people going to take back from there? So I think we are actually not helping mediators. That's and not even helping mediation, because what people are taking back from mediation itself is something which we have to, of course, do a survey on it. But my biggest issue is that practicing as a full-time mediator is what I want to do. And why are you hitting me? Why is my livelihood being affected because you want to go out into the court? And some of them, these mediators, want to practice in the courts as mediators only because they want to be recognized by judges and they might get elevated to become judges. That's what they do it for also. These are the family saying feedback that I'm getting from the court system. So we have to look at all that. But let's get Loretta in. Yes, Loretta.
Yeah, from my understanding what you just said, I think mediators will have to come together to work on this issue, have this discussion, and then look for a way forward. Because if we keep complaining every year in, year out, about some of these pitfalls, it may never get there, because these centers are going to be there forever. It's just the same as we have our court systems there, but people just prefer to settle their disputes without mediators, arbitrators, or even litigators. But people somehow find a way to resolve their disputes. So if we as mediators will have a proper structure, I think it's all about a structure. If we have a structure where things are organized, it will be better. But from what I understand right now, in Nigeria, we have something like that. Of course, we have ICMC. We have other bodies who are trying to put things in order. Things are not like they were 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago. 2022 is a new year, and there are skills that people are, getting every day to improve themselves and also be there. So I think with time, we'll be recognized and will be paid adequately. I don't think it will go on for a long time. And some persons have started earning that money already.
No, but Loretta, when did your multi-door courthouse start? When did mediation center start in Nigeria? When was the first time they started? How long back is that?
It's been a long time now. As far back as I think it's more than 10 years. That's all I can remember. I know it's more than 10 years.
Well, look,
it's more than 10 years.
I mean, the person who started the first mediation center in India in one of the high courts, Mr. Sriram Panchu, he's been on my shows and my events. So, of course, the free part of it is what it started. Now, today, I always say that is because I keep telling him. So now his thought process has changed on that. He says, right, exactly what I've been saying, that for pro bono, let it be there. Some mediators want to come and serve for the pro bono part. That also I will talk about, because I still want to question that part also. But okay, for the moment, we'll say you want to give it pro bono for people who can't afford it. But otherwise, he's now saying that they should be paid on market value. He's saying that. I mean, imagine in the last, and that's been 2005, he started the first center. It's been 17 years. So if since 17 years, if this thought process has started there, I think things would have been different. And in every court in the world, the same issue is coming up. So either I am saying, let's go and tell all our friends who are practicing in courts, please don't give it for free. Please don't give it for free, because you are serving the judges, you're serving the courts, but you're not serving mediators and mediation. Maybe it's very nice to say that mediation is being spread there and people are talking about it. They're not talking nicely about it, and we want them to talk nicely about it, not just talk about it. So, Tabitha, please.
Yeah, I'm just processing what you're saying, and I think you're right, and I think I'd add also something I see a lot, because I'm also involved in mediation training, and I talk to a lot of starting mediators in international mediation competitions, so from all over the world and in the Netherlands. And I think what a lot of them have as a core passion is, I want to help people, and I'm just fascinated by conflict or the human nature, which is great. However, if you want to be serious and you want to practice and you want to continue to increase your skills and to improve the quality of your work, you have to also take the more entrepreneurial side of practicing as a mediator very serious. And I wouldn't go to a dentist that has a website from 1998 and and doesn't have any good photos. That wouldn't give me the feeling that this is a serious professional that I can trust to take care of my teeth. So why not have the same attitude? If you're in dispute management, make sure that your house is in order and that you have a good office. And it doesn't have to be a full-time office. It can be a shared office, but that it is a nice, safe space where you feel comfortable, where clients come in and feel like, hey, I'm in good hands here. And the same for a website, for how you present yourself on social media. Make sure that people get a feeling of, hey, this is a trustworthy professional that knows what they're doing, not just a hobbyist.
Exactly. So that, because that's the whole thing, the way it's is spread everywhere. That most of the people are doing it like that. And I talk to people all over the world, and I have found only a handful who are practicing as full-time mediators. Even lawyers will write in front of their name as arbitrators, mediators, legal consultants, legal strategists, whatever they have to. I haven't seen just mediator there. So what else? I mean, what? Of course, look, the other side of it, what I was trying to say on the free pro bono part of it is that finally the other part is someone funds it. Okay, so we say in the community mediation centers, the state is funding the mediators and they're getting paid whatever they would get paid otherwise. That's one route that could be taken. Now, the only thing on that route is that should the state be funding people's disputes? That's something we also, if they can pay for it, because a lot of places they've tried it, and we'll have that discussion on the US experience on community mediation. So if people could have paid for it and the state is funding it, is that the right way of going about handling this? Because very nice to say that yes, we've created this mediation center, we pay the mediators. For a moment we say pay the mediators are paid. The money is going to come out of someone's pocket. A taxpayer is going to be paying for it. So what is a taxpayer doing? Funding someone's dispute. Why are you in dispute? First of all, why it's your dispute. You decided to get into dispute. Why am I as a taxpayer paying for that? So that also is a discussion on whether that aspect of free also, although mediator is getting paid, is that also the right way of going about it? So that's
That it
another.
takes away people's responsibility for their own conflict and their autonomy in a way.
Yeah.
And in the Netherlands, what we have now is that some mediators, you have to have a couple of years experience and you've gone through the reviewing process, can be part of the legal aid. And that means people and families up to a certain income level are allowed to either fund a lawyer or to fund a mediation as part of the legal aid system supported by government. But there's some hefty rules there. So it's really for those who cannot pay themselves. Yeah. And the community mediation that I was talking about is a voluntary thing, and you don't have to be a mediator. Actually, not being a mediator is considered a pro. You have to be a concerned citizen that is willing to go through training and that is passionate about their own neighborhood and helping dialogue in their own neighborhood. And that is limited to people that have disputes with neighbors. So it's not for people that have a dispute with the government or people that have a dispute with the owner of the garage or the snack bar next door. It's really people to people. So that service is limited. It's not a commercial service. And what I really like about it, and that's why I've been involved for over 10 years, is that I also work with a lot of dispute amateurs who are really good at what they do. And that really brings something new to the table, because not everyone can afford to go through formal mediation training. Not everybody wants to go through formal mediation training, but it doesn't mean that they cannot be excellent in facilitating dialogue on a community level. So I really enjoy it. So that's one of the main reasons I do it, not because I hope that some judge will recognize me and then I will be appointed judge later on. So that's how it works, and I can afford to do that because I am a full-time mediator and I have enough income.
So now that's what I said. Now look at it from the perspective of someone who wants to look at this as their livelihood, because Tabitha comes in, she has everything going for her, and I'll put some time. But every person like you, when they put their time, cumulatively, you're actually taking away from someone's income. That could be their livelihood. So we have to keep that in mind also. Is just because you, I mean, you're okay with that 70% and 30% and how you're looking at it. Someone's basic livelihood could have come from it because that's what they want to do. But we are not letting them do that. So that's what I mean. We have to, of course, look at that. And the other part you said about training and all that, you know my thoughts on that. I'm saying these people have that natural ability, and exactly what you're saying. Some people just have it. So we should bring them out, yes, but please not for free. Please pay them, value them. Society should value them, because traditionally, if also you spoke about the priests or the rabbis or whatever, they had a certain social standing. So they were in some way getting paid also, not just social standing. The church would be giving them some benefits, or how are they, how, what remuneration, how it works, I don't know. I have no idea how the church functions. But that priest is getting their livelihood, they got accommodation, he's got everything. So it's not that this is something that is like, it's not free in that sense also. There is some money paid, someone has funded it, someone has given a contribution to the church which has funded it. So somewhere there is a cycle happening. It's not that that transaction, maybe nothing was transferred, no money was transferred, but in some way that money was transferred by people. So I think we should look a little deeper there also. And if you have to keep it to those people who either have a social standing and they're doing it, because there was, in the last symposium, there was someone from Romania who actually did some research in Crete. So these traditional situations there, where of course there are blood feuds there, and they looked at that, and their mediators, people with high social standing, they were doing it. So it's not, for them, it wasn't about money. It was about them being treated as the mediators in that society. So some people are doing it for name, and they can do it because they have other things happening. But what about those people who wanted to take it up as the thing that they want to do in their life? That path will never be open for them. So I think lots of those discussions. And of course, we have changed. Like I said, as a society, we have grown as population. First of all, traditionally, there might have been smaller communities where they were doing other things, and this was for the high social standing people, like, or people, religious heads or whatever. But things have changed. The world has opened up. People are living in places where there's lots and lots of people. To be able to say that, okay, in that situation also we have to look at the way traditionally we looked at mediators. I think we have to question that. But Loretta's waiting to say something. I don't know whether, Loretta, you're listening to us or not, or you. He's not. I think she's doing something else on her com. You want to unmute yourself or not?
I'm listening to everything you're saying because I feel triggered because everything you are saying is basically my life right now. You know, when I made the decision not to be a litigation lawyer, I told myself I was just going to, explore other areas of dispute resolution, and mediation was the one that caught my attention. So to be honest, for the first year, I didn't make any money at all from it. Everybody was telling me to, offer my services for free so others can, know that I'm in business. And it wasn't really funny. I had to, still find other ways to practice law, to earn money and fund my mediation lifestyle. So it wasn't really easy. And up until now, I still talk to mentors who encourage me, show me ways on how I can, take my mediation as a business and not just my career and everything. Because where you are working is where you also earn money. You cannot offer services for free every day and expect to wake up and have something going for you. So basically, I think that's it for us.
Because it's for any kind of work. Let's move out from service. Let's for goods. Now you've set up a restaurant there, and you want to get paid for it, and the government comes there and puts up a counter there, free food. And it doesn't matter whether you can afford or not afford it, we are going to give it to you for free. Are people really going to walk into your restaurant? They, on terms of valuing the same thing, but I'm saying the same food. Of course, Tabitha came out with a very interesting thing. People might not value that food that they get for free as much, but they'll still eat it because they're getting it for free. So that's, I mean, something we definitely for every activity. So it's not just, and food is an essential thing. Dispute resolution comes later. First comes food. So give free food. You don't fund dispute resolution. You fund food. Then that's more important. Why do we have to have people who are dying on the road, hungry in places? Why are homeless people sitting there? Fund food first. Why? What have you been looking at someone's dispute? You're funding that. But the other larger discussion is that, of course, we have to look at the larger role of mediators in society. And Ken Cloak had written about it, of course, on my website. Also, you can go under the section celebrating Ken Cloak. He's written articles on this. He is looking at the role of mediators in social problem solving and global problem solving. So we want that, yes, that your livelihood comes from the mediation part of it, and this 30% that time that Tabitha wants to give, you have a much larger role in society. I mean, in relation to consensus building in your communities, working with the government on policy drafting. Yesterday, we had a session on climate change. Where do people come in? So we have a much larger role to play. And what if your whole livelihood only if you can't get out of the whole process? Where is the larger role going to be? So I think that also discussion we need to have. So Tabitha, you have something to say on that?
Yeah, I just realized I wanted to correct something, which is that the 30% I do indeed spend on being busy writing articles for a scientific journal, or being busy in my community. So I'm not giving mediation away for free. I just take my 70% very serious, and I approach it as a business in order to be able to do the things that I find valuable, like sitting here on a Saturday afternoon without getting paid. I can afford to do the things that matter and that I find important because I take the earning part serious. I think that was Sarah also said in one of her sessions, that she at some point realized being a leader also means charging a fee as a leader, because that's the way the current system works, and they contribute value to because they have to pay for you. And in an ideal scenario, that wouldn't be the case, but that is how it works. So if we do things for free, indeed, nobody's going to take us very serious. And we want to develop.
Exactly. And why should we feel apologetic about the fact that you have to pay proper fees? I mean, why should we? It's another service. It's you doing something, and we think we're doing something very good. We're helping you resolve your dispute forever. No concept of appeals and everything. So if we don't value ourselves and we're being apologetic about fees, then how is the person who's going to take your service going to value you and mediation and everything? But let me just get Nanchang. In Nanchang, the only thing, Nanchang is based in Nigeria, and he was there's a joke that just come up on Nanchang. Nanchang, is it okay with you if I tell them the joke?
Hello, Nanchang.
Hello, Loretta.
Nanchang, can I tell
Good to
them?
see you, my friend.
Of course. Thank you.
Tell me, can I tell them the joke or not? Nanchang,
Of
tell
course,
me.
you can.
Okay,
If you
okay.
want to.
What happened was yesterday, Nanchang was supposed to meet me at, so we had a meeting at 7 o'clock India time. So at 6:20, there was some messaging we did. And I said, Nanchang, we're going to meet in 40 minutes. And he says, India time? So So I had to explain to him 40 minutes is the same anywhere in the world. So that's our joke now. And Nanchang is you're going to hear it a number of times. So please. So that's
However, I'm waiting because my father-in-law is flying into the Netherlands today, and he's from Georgia. And I'm pretty sure Georgia, the Caucasus, not the state in the US. I'm pretty sure Georgian minute is much more flexible than a Dutch minute. So Georgian time does mean it's not going to be 3 o'clock. It's going to be somewhere between 3 and 4. So in our house, minutes depend on which nationality we attach to it. So often we ask, is this a Georgian minute or Georgian time or Dutch time?
That's an interesting part, because here also in India, people say, oh, I'll see you in 5 minutes. You never know when that 5 minutes is going to happen. So Nanchang, you've got some support now. You've got some support.
Yes, at least.
India, for him, India time meant that 40 minutes can happen in 4 hours also. Was that what you were trying to ask me?
Yeah, I needed to know whether it is Indian time so that I can go to your converter and see, oh, it is Nigerian time.
No,
so that...
Okay. But anyway, Nanchang, you've come in for the next discussion, I can understand, for mediation as a business, which is what Loretta is also going to discuss later. So right now we are discussing the aspect of free versus pro bono. So we're taking that discussion forward. You can listen in. If you want to come in, you can always tell me.
It's very linked, isn't it?
It is.
Because if you take mediation as a business, then there's also the question on So what do you do in order to gain an audience? What do you do in order for people to get to know your name? Versus what do you do to take yourself serious as an entrepreneur, as an owner of a business?
Yeah, exactly. That's what we're discussing after. That's why they're connected. That's why they're next to each other. So the business of mediation is what Loretta and Fola and Isaac is coming in, and Chang is also there. So we discussed that part. But more on this aspect of it, that of course the whole free versus pro bono discussion, I want to put it out there because finally I do want mediators who are right now giving it for free to understand and also in some way be sensitive to us in the sense of people who only practice as full-time mediators, and please do not affect our livelihood. We also have to do lots of things. We also have to play golf and eat and travel. All those things. So please let us also do these things. Do not give it out for free. And I don't know, we don't have that kind of maybe a setup where we have all these people who are practicing as private mediators or own full-time mediators to be on the road because they're not enough of us, I can see. So my going on the road will not help because I'll be the only one sitting there. But as a group, I think we need to start influencing this part. That's what I think. But if you want to, Isaac, you want to come in? If there's anything that you want to, you're not being part of the discussion, but we're discussing free and versus pro bono, and you always have something to say.
Hello to everyone. Yes, I have not been part of the discussion. Yes, so when it comes to pro bono, yes, I've been part of pro bono mediation since 20.
What does pro
bono means doing, when it comes to my side of the country, especially in Ghana, when you mention pro bono, the first thing that comes to mind is free services. Yeah, that is what comes to mind, free services. So there are instances where people have been referred to the center and we have helped them through mediation and all that. And there are some certain instances whereby you ask that, okay, it is free, but certain charges that they have to pay, they will tell you that when they spoke to them, they said they are doing the thing for free. It's pro bono. So pro bono means it's free. So this has been some of the challenges.
But what I'm trying to distinguish between free and pro bono is free is for someone who can afford it and you're giving it to them without charging anything. Pro bono is for people who can't afford it, so you're providing it to them without any charges. That's the distinguishing aspect that I'm talking about. And if in mediation, say in the court system also we talk about, mediator gets
sure, I understand. Yeah.
No,
when it comes to the court system,
no, I'm telling you
in Ghana, for instance.
No, I'm just telling you this, you can take it forward.
Don't pay for the services, yeah.
This is what we're talking about, that in the court system, there are lawyers who are being paid by the parties, hefty fees, mediator gets nothing. So in that kind of a scenario, that aspect, is that fair on people who are of course practicing as full-time mediators, that you are giving it to these people? That's one part. And the lawyers are making their money, and why the mediator should be left out? Is it that noble a service? No, I thought the legal profession was a noble profession. It seems the mediation is the most noble profession in the world, that we don't charge anything. Come to us, we'll give you everything for free. So that part. So only thing, if I get Fola in, Fola, do you want to come in? Because obviously you practice in the multi-door courthouse and you're doing private work also. This free versus pro bono argument, do you have something you want to put in?
I don't like free.
Exactly. That's for the next session. Business of mediation.
I don't like free. Free is a destruction of value.
Yes.
You see, when people don't ascribe some kind of monetary, when they don't ascribe a fee to a service rendered, they don't appreciate it. And that's the only reason why people would pay top dollar to buy a Bugatti or a Ferrari, and also not decide to pay that particular amount of money to buy probably a cheaper brand. And I don't know what discussion has been all about, but and I think until we mediators, we do as a business, because there's a mediation mindset, there's a business mindset, so there has to be a synergy of both. And until we begin to see the value in what we do, then people won't see that value for us. So because it's how people say they don't make money from mediation. I make 6 figures from mediation, and I don't do any other thing apart from mediation. So Vikram, I eat, drink, sleep, breathe mediation. So my entire business model is centered around mediation. So so the problem now is not a mediation problem, it's a mediator problem, it's a creativity problem. Because if I'm trained with other mediators and I'm able to generate income from it, from the same training the same mediators like myself had, so what then is the problem? So a lot of times people don't understand that the concept of mediation is like going to school, whereby they impact knowledge on you. But what you now decide to do with the knowledge is a different ball game entirely. Okay, let me not get carried away and just stop right
Look,
here.
in the next session, definitely we're talking about the business
Oh
of mediation.
yes,
But
yes.
here the idea was just to put down this thing that Fola, please do not give it for free in the court system that you do.
Never.
Go there and tell them why these people who are sitting there, they can afford it. They're paying their lawyers in that. As a mediator, why
Free.
am I not being given? Why should I not be given it? So that is what you
Free.
have to take up. And all those, because I don't go in the court, so I'm not going to go down and tell these people, but I will still, this message I want it out there. So what we'll do is, Paula.
And you know the interesting thing, becoming a mediator is so expensive. Do you know how much we pay top dollars to become mediators? So I don't understand why we would spend so much money to become a mediator and anyone would think of actually giving it out for free. You know, I find it very difficult to wrap my head around. If you check, yes, it's so expensive to become a mediator. The trainings we do, the certifications we try to get, then somebody now wants to give it out for free. Anyway, it's a personal thing. I don't work for free. I don't do pro bono anyway, so it's personal. So I can't reconcile with anything pro bono. You know, so
Look at this
exactly.
distinguishing. We're doing the idea in this session was to distinguish between free and pro bono, and which is what I pointed out. For me, free is to people who can afford it, and you don't charge anything. Pro bono is to those people who can't afford it, and you give it to them. So that this
But
is
that's the point.
distinguished.
Everybody can afford it. So why are we
Fola,
looking
are
at
you
it?
getting paid now? Because you could say that being here is a pro bono thing, right?
No. Okay, if I'm going to be very honest with you, Tabitha, Vikram is providing an opportunity for visibility for me. Now you're meeting me for the first time today. You know, you never can say I'm meeting Isaac for the first time. I know Nan Chang. So now you know who I am. You know I'm from Lagos, Nigeria. So chances are that if you have to do any mediation business right now, you know who to call. So you see, so the platform Vikram has created is a platform that people can watch from anywhere around the world. So one way or the other, it's almost like a symbiotic relationship because he's projecting himself to the world. So in everything I have, so that chances are that if I'm probably called to come and speak to maybe one or two people, I'll do the cost benefit analysis and be like, okay, fine, yes, nah, and I take a walk. So the point I'm trying to bring out of all of this is that payment does not necessarily have to be in monetary value. It could be in anything at all.
Only thing
Trade by barter. People trade services. So yes, I'm getting paid.
What I'm going to do is, because I'll have to finish this session because I told you the next one has to start on time because of social media issue. So I'll just thank everyone. I won't do any closing remark time kind of thing. Thank you, Tabitha, Loretta, of course, Nanchang and Isaac and Fola.
Yeah, nice meeting you, Tabitha. Nice meeting you, Isaac.
And Tabitha, you can please stay in the next session. All of you. I just have to close this and start that. So just give me the time to do that.